BigCountryPreps.com. I'm Evan Wren, and this is the Countdown to Two-A-Days series. Our daily look at an area football team and the key questions we're going to be answering about that team and our August 16th preseason football preview here at Big Country Preps. I'm with my partner, Dan Youngblood, via Zoom. And today, Dan, we're talking about the Leon Bearcats.
And this is a Leon team that I'm intrigued by. They made some pretty serious progress last year in Coach Jacob Marwitz's second year. Improved from winless his first year to 4-6 last year, and were really much more competitive than they were prior. And they returned 13 of 20 lettermen from that group, including 6 offensive and 7 defensive starters. So a pretty solid nucleus back from that team, including Heston Jobe, who really made a splash at the quarterback position last year as a freshman. So I think this is going to be an interesting year for DeLeon. Obviously, some questions to answer, and there are some tough teams in that district that they're going to have to find ways to beat if they want to get back into the playoff picture. But I am kind of excited to see how this one plays out for DeLeon.
Before we jump into today's edition of the Countdown to Two-A-Days series, we want to remind you folks that are on YouTube to please hit the subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button and then hit that little bell that will pop up after you hit the subscribe button. That way you'll receive notifications from YouTube every time we come up with a new podcast here at Big Country Preps, which will make it very easy for you to follow along with the Countdown to Two-A-Days series, which will feature a new area team every single day, all the way up until the outset of preseason workouts, which open on July 31st, right around the corner. Wow. Anyway, hit that subscribe button and follow along with us all summer. We appreciate it.
Let's go ahead and jump in. Let's talk about DeLeon and some of the questions they face and some of the questions regarding that team. I think one of the big ones is this the year? Is this the year that DeLeon finally takes that step forward, gets back into the playoff picture? This is a program that, like I said, last year made some very, showed some really nice flashes, showed some serious progress. This is a program that really hits it hard in the weight room. They really emphasize that weight program. Can this be the year that those guys, now in their third year in Coach Marwitz's system, take that big step forward and get back into the playoffs? I think that the possibility exists. You look at the district that they're in, District 5 2A D1. You've got Coleman, you've got Toller at the top that have kind of become really tough teams. But after those two, it does look pretty open there for those playoff spots. It looks like there is a path for DeLeon if they can, make the strides we think they can, that they have that opportunity to compete for one of those last 2 playoff spots. And I'll be interested to see if they can.
One of the questions I would have is about the 7-3 JV team that DeLeon fielded last year. In recent years, we've seen DeLeon without really having a full JV and completing a full season at all. And this year, they come in they have a group of kids from the JV team that played a full season at 7-3, and that makes a difference when you can bring in a group of kids that 10 years or 10 games rather worth of reps. That makes a difference. And that's what they've got this year. And these are kids that are hitting that weight room as hard as anybody else out there. So they could have a big impact. And this is a decent group, 7-3 last year. And I'm interested to see where this goes.
And I always think that's important too. I mean, not only did they play a full schedule, they experienced some success. So they're going to bring some expectations of success with them to the varsity level. Yes. So I'm interested to see how that plays out. And then the last question, we talked about Heston Jobe. He was a kid that just really exploded onto the scene last year as a dual threat guy. A very good running quarterback, rushed for over 1,000 yards last year, passed for over 1,000 yards. I'm interested to see what kind of step he'll take. I mean, that was a super valuable experience for him last year to be the starter the entire year as a freshman. Now he comes in as a seasoned veteran, as a guy that you might be leaned on even as a sophomore to be a leader of that offense. So I'm interested to see kind of the progression he makes. Clearly the talent's there. I'm excited to see some of those intangibles this year.
All right, with that, let's take a quick look at DeLeon's schedule for 2023. They open with the Junction Eagles on the road on August the 25th, home date with Cross Plains, and that's an interesting matchup, I believe, right there. At home on September the 1st, another home date with Valley Mills on September the 8th, and a road date at Heiko on September 15th, and that's another team. That Heiko team is going to be improved this year as well, so that's another interesting matchup. And then they jump into district.
Yeah, and I really like that non-district schedule because it'll be challenging, but it's not overwhelming. There are going to be some opportunities to really compete in what should be some fun games. As far as district goes, they're a team that has their open date on the final week of the season, so they're going to play 10 straight games. They jump right into district on September 22nd with a road date at Bangs, come back home on the 29th to host Goldthwaite, go back on the road to face San Saba on October 6th, host Toller on the 13th, go to Hamilton on the 20th, and then wrap up their regular season on October 27th with a home game against Coleman. So an interesting schedule with some key dates on there. I think you look at there's some, the DeLeon's one of those several teams in this league that I think expect improvement and that are hoping to get back in that playoff picture. And like I said, after Coleman and Toller, it's going to be pretty wide open. So you look at those games against, Bang, San Saba, Hamilton. Those are going to be big games this year. It's going to be fun to watch and see how those play out.
All right, and with that, it's about time to wrap up today's edition of the Countdown to Two-A-Days series, the Leon Bearcats. But before we do that, we want to remind you that on August 16th, that's the big day here at Big Country Preps, where we release our annual preseason football preview. It's the most comprehensive look at big country football available from any media source in Texas. Nobody's going to hit the big country any harder than we will. You'll have more than 40 team previews, more than 40 player features. You'll have opinion pieces. You'll have stats. You'll have video, and you'll have predictions, which are, we feel, the most accurate as far as our area is concerned in the entire state of Texas. Join us August 16th.
In the meantime, thank you for joining us for this episode of our Countdown to Two-A-Days series, and make sure you come back tomorrow when we will be highlighting the Goldthwait Eagles here at BigCountryPreps.com.